Okay, so here's the forms and we have the responses. What I'm going to do is open them in Sheets, view responses here in Sheets. I'm going to just go ahead and get rid of the timestamp here. Maybe do that. Copy it to here. Then that. Um, okay, so the first thing you need to do is clean the data. Things like here, I just don't judge. Um, we can just delete that or change it to a D. If I have a range here, I might choose something in the middle. I don't know, I could make that a 50, which would be halfway in between, or I could just delete it. If you delete, you're gonna lose some information there. So when possible, like here's 1,000. I'm gonna change that to a 100. And then the other thing I might do is I might just select all the, oh, here's another 1,000. I might select all the data. There was an that I know. And now I see my min is 0 and max is 100. So I think that should be in pretty good shape. So once I'm ready, I go to add-ons in Excel minor analysis. You'll have to get that, of course, if you don't already have it. I'm going to start that. And then one of the options here is correlation. So the input range, I'm just going to select everything, including, and it's important to include the titles there. Select it all and then click on the button that says input range. I do want labels in the first row because I've selected those labels. And then the output range, we could just over here maybe, click in there and hit OK. So this should give us a nice little correlations matrix. Now the first thing I'm going to do is condense these columns just so it's more visible there. And then I'm going to change the formatting of those numbers to maybe 2 digits. I would also like to select it, go to conditional formatting, and give myself a range. Red, green, a lot of people are red, green colorblind, so I often go minimum value is red and maximum value is blue. I've found pretty good luck in contrast even for types of color blindness. And um, the other thing you could do, maybe even before you run this, is to shorten these names so they're not quite so long. Like instead of how much is COVID impact, you might just this COVID. And if you do that before you run this, then you wouldn't have to do it here, but it's not too much problem. The other thing is, since the ones are kind of meaningless there and they obscure the color range, this is just how much each thing correlates with itself. Take those off, and that allows the other range to show through a little more. Of course, there's lots of things you do first with making predictions before you actually show these correlations. And it's nice to have some discussion what you think will correlate and maybe have some debates and stuff before you show the correlations. But at some point then you reveal this matrix. So for example, we have a very strong positive correlation here. How much do you believe minimum wage should be? So the more people believe in increasing minimum wage, the more fair you tend to feel the recent presidential election was, right? So there's a clear political component there related to both of those. Similarly, how fair you feel the recent presidential election was, maybe less or more, yeah, maybe not as obvious. The more people feel that it was fair, the more they also feel that sex work is real work. And then if we look at negative correlations, the strongest ones here, how much do you believe in the more someone believes in the Second Amendment, the less they tend to believe that sex work is real work. Some of the strongest correlations are coming through here as political, which isn't a big surprise. Um, but there's some that aren't as obvious, like how frustrating is online learning for you, um, and how often do you listen to watch media in a different language than you speak. So the more people watch media in a different language, the more they tend to say that online learning is frustrating. I would not have guessed that. In fact, I might have even guessed a negative correlation there. So that led to some interesting discussions. Which, yeah, anyway, that's the basics of how to set it up and how